This is a review of what we did yesterday with simplifying rational expressions. We're going to factor them as much as we can, and a lot of times some stuff will cancel out. Remember, if you need to switch the order with addition, you could just do it for free. If you need to switch it with subtraction, you have to factor out a -1 to do that. So I'm going to go a little quicker than yesterday. Just follow along and then use this as reference when you're actually trying out problems. I look at 1 and it says 6a plus 9 in the numerator. Those are both divisible by 3. So I'm going to factor out a 3. 3 times 2a is 6a. 3 times 3 is 9. Our denominator is just 12. And then we can simplify the 3 with the 12, the 3 on the outside that we factored out. 3 goes into 3 one time, 3 goes into 12 4 times. So we have 1 times 2a plus 3, which is just 2a plus 3. Our denominator is 4. Don't forget, we can't simplify the 2a with the 4 because the 2a is grouped with the 3, with addition. Even if it was subtraction, it has to be a common factor on the outside to be able to simplify it. Now these are just single terms, monomials, so you can simplify whatever you want. 4 goes into 4 one time, 4 goes into 28 7 times. If I look at the exponents, I have x to the third in the numerator, x to the fourth in the denominator. There's one more x in the denominator. So all 3 are going to cancel out in the numerator, and in the denominator, just 1's going to be left over. So we have 1 in the numerator and 7x in the denominator. 2m minus 5, nothing in common. I'm just going to rewrite it. I'm going to put it in parentheses because I bet it cancels out. Denominator, 6m and 15. Those are both divisible by 3. 3 times 2m is 6m. 3 times -5 is -15. OMG. Wow. Those cancel out. They're both 2m minus 5. Now, someone's going to see this and they're going to be like, 3. The 3's in the denominator, though. So if everything else canceled out, you do have to put a place filler of 1 in the numerator. So be careful. Number 4, 2p or not 2p. Every day I'm going to use that joke. 2p minus 24. 2 is a common factor. 2 times p is 2p. 2 times 12 is 24. I look at the denominator. 4p minus 48. I can factor out a 4. 4 times p is 4p. 4 times 12 is 48. I can simplify the 2 over 4 on the outside. 2 goes into 2 one time. 2 goes into 4 two times. I could also cancel out the p minus 12 for the p minus 12. Wow, so all I have left is 1/2, 1 over 2. Cute! I look at number 5. I look at the numerator, 3x squared minus 9x. A common factor would be 3x. So I factor out 3x. 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times -3 is -9x. I look at the denominator, x minus 3. They don't have anything in common except for 1, so I'll just leave it, and I'll put it in parentheses. Do you notice anything that'll cancel out? Yeah. They both have an x minus 3. All we have left is 3x over 1, which is just 3x. 3x plus 6. Those are both divisible by 3. So we'll factor out a 3. We're left with x plus 2. Our denominator is 3x squared. There's no addition or subtraction down there, so we can simplify this 3 with the 3 that's factored out. Boom, cancel them out. 1, 1. So up top we just have x plus 2. Denominator we have the x squared. You can't simplify the x with the x squared because the x is grouped with addition. I know I'm saying that a lot, but I see that happen a lot. Number 7, 2x squared plus 2x. Those both have 2x in common. So I'll factor out 2x. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 1 is 2x. The denominator, 3x squared plus 3x. They both have a 3x in common. 3x times x is 3x squared, and 3x times 1 is 3x. Look at that. They both have the x plus 1s. Get rid of them. 2x over 3x. They also both have an x. So we can cancel out the x for the x. All I'm left with is 2 up top, 3 on the bottom. 2b, oh, it writes itself. Minus 8. They both have 2 in common. So if I factor out a 2, 2 times b is 2b, or not to be, and 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. I look at the denominator, b squared minus 16, I could square root both of those. That's a difference of squares. So that's the one where when you factor it, you square root them, you put one with a plus, one with a minus. The square root of b squared is b. Square root of 16 is 4, so it factors to b minus 4 times b plus 4. Now they both have that b minus 4 in common. All we have left in the numerator is a 2. In denominator, b plus 4. Done. Woohoo! Number 9, m plus 6. Nothing in common, but I bet it cancels out later. I'll put it in parentheses. Denominator, it ends in minus. The only way you can multiply to a negative is a positive times a negative. M plus, m minus. And again, I bet it's going to be m plus 6 because it's probably going to cancel out. But I need numbers that multiply to 42 and add up to negative 1, so they're 1 apart from each other. 6 and 7. To make them add up to negative 1, it'd have to be positive 6, negative 7. Because remember, 6 times negative 7 is negative 42. 6 plus negative 7 is negative 1. Now we can cancel out the m plus 6's. I have nothing in the numerator. You got to put a place filler of 1 up there. Denominator is m minus 7, and we're having fun. Look at that. That's 9 problems. We're killing it. Number 10, w squared plus 7w. They both have a w. So we could factor out the w, which would leave us with w plus 7. Fun. Denominator, those are both things that I can square root, and there's a minus in the middle. Difference of squares. Square root them both, put one with a plus, one with a minus. Square root of w squared is w. Square root of 49, 7. Now we can cancel out the w plus 7's. All we're left with in the numerator is w, denominator w minus 7. Don't cancel out the w's. A squared plus 2a plus 1. Factors of 1 that add up to 2 would be 1 and 1. A plus 1 times a plus 1. Now, if you were just factoring that, I would have you write that as a plus 1 squared. However, here, most likely something's going to cancel out, so I'll just leave it as it is for now. In the denominator, 5a plus 5, they're both divisible by 5, so we'll factor out 5. 5 times a is 5a, 5 times 1 is 5. Now we can cancel out one of the a plus 1's. Whew. So up top we have a plus 1, denominator we have the 5. Number 12, we look for factors of 12 that add up to 7. That'd be 4 and 3. M plus 4 times m plus 3. Factoring for you and factoring for me. The denominator, factors of 8 that add up to 6 would be 4 and 2. M plus 4 times m plus 2. Factoring for me, factoring for you. Anything in common to cancel out? M plus 4. M plus 3 over m plus 2. We're cruising. For a bruising. All right, number 13. It ends in plus 8, so they both plus or both minus, but it adds up to negative 6. That means they're going to have to both be minus. Factors of 8 that add up to 6 would be 2 and 4. Denominator, it ends in minus. That means it's got to be one of each. C plus, C minus. They have to be 1 apart. Factors of 6 that are 1 apart are 3 and 2. So to make them add up to positive 1, it'd be plus the 3 minus the 2. Now we have the c minus 2 in common that we could get rid of. That leaves us with c minus 4 over c plus 3. All right. On 14, factors of 15 that add up to 8 are 3 and 5. So we'll say b plus 3 times b plus 5. I see the denominator is also b plus 5, so we'll be able to cancel those out. B plus 3 over 1, which is just b plus 3. 15, m plus 4 in the numerator. You can't do anything with that. No common factors except for 1. Denominator ends in minus. I know it's a plus and a minus. I would predict that I'm going to have m plus 4 down there, but what do I know? Factors of 8 that are 2 apart. Oh, 4 and 2. M plus 4, m minus 2. Get rid of the m plus 4s. Now the m minus 2 is all that's left, but it's in the denominator, so make sure you put a 1 up top. Yes! Here we go. 6 more. 5 minus 4n over 4n minus 5. Now there are no common factors, but I do see they're the same thing, but we do have to flip the order. When you do that with subtraction, you have to factor out a negative 1. So up top, I'm going to factor out a negative 1, and then I can make it 4n minus 5. Denominator, I could just leave it 4n minus 5, and now those will cancel out, and all I have left is negative 1. That's going to be a common theme for these next couple problems. If you look at 17, 12 minus 4t, I could factor out a 4. 4 times 3 is 12. What's going on there? I don't know what happened. And then 4 times t is 4t. I look at the denominator, it ends in minus. I know that has to be a plus times a minus. Factors of 3 are 3 and 1. To make them add up to negative 2, it'd have to be minus our big number, 3, plus our small number, 1. Now, look, you have 3 minus t, you have t minus 3. I do have to flip the order in the numerator, t minus 3. In order to do that, all you have to do is factor out a negative 1. So I'll make the 4 on the outside negative 4. Done. Denominator, t plus 1 times t minus 3. Now I can cancel out the t minus 3 for the t minus 3. I'm left with negative 4 over t plus 1. 4m minus 8. They both have a 4 in common, which leaves you with m minus 2. 4 times m is 4m, 4 times 2 is 8. Denominator, they both have a 2 in common, which would leave us with 2 minus m. Now right here I can simplify the 4 over 2. 2 goes into 4 2 times, 2 goes into 2 1 time. Great. So our numerator would be 2 times m minus 2. Our denominator would be 1 times 2 minus m. We're going to have to flip the 2 minus m. So we're going to factor out a negative sign. So we'll have negative 1, and then we're able to flip it. Now we can cancel out the m minus 2's. All I have left is 2 divided by negative 1, which is negative 2. 3 more. That's it, man. We're almost there. M minus 2, 4 minus 2m. M minus 2, they don't have anything in common. Denominator has a 2 in common, so 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times negative m is negative 2m. And again, we have to flip the order. In order to do that, we have to factor out a negative 1. So I'm going to put a negative in front of the 2 out there. Now we can cancel those out, and it's 1 over negative 2, but I would just have you bring the negative up to the top or out in front, negative 1/2. V minus 5, nothing to do. Denominator, difference of squares. I can square root both of them, so I'm going to do that. I'll put one with a plus, one with a minus. Square root of 25 is 5. Square root of v squared is v. I am going to need to flip the order for this 5 minus v to cancel it out with the v minus 5. You could just flip addition if you want. So 5 plus v, leave it if you want, or make it v plus 5. But to switch subtraction like this, we're going to have to factor out a negative sign, or a negative 1. Now we can cancel out the v minus 5's. I'm going to move the negative sign up top, so I'll make it negative 1 over v plus 5. And this is it. Don't get scared. 4 minus w. Look, I know I'm going to have to flip that and make it w minus 4. So I'll go ahead and factor out a negative sign right now. And then I can flip it. All right, denominator. multiplies to positive 16. They're either both positive or both negative. If it adds up to negative 8, that has to both be negative. Factors of 16 that add up to 8 would be 4 and 4. And now we can cancel out a w minus 4 for a w minus 4. So up top we have negative 1. In the denominator we have w minus 4. We went through those 21 problems pretty quickly, but I need you to be able to have time to practice them in class.